Yes, it's raining, but it's absolutely wonderful for planting, and especially planting trees. And here we are with one of my favourite trees, Cornus chinensis. It has beautiful pink bracts, it has wonderful autumn colour, and then during the winter as it ages, it has the most lovely bark. But I need to get the hole dug for it, and I want to make sure it looks good. So little trick I've got, I want the hole to be circular and 1 metre wide. So I've got 2 canes, piece of string, 50 centimetres. I put the central one in here, so I know where the centre of the hole is going to be. And then I just go round, and as you can see my soil here, it's really stony. But don't worry about that. None of us has perfect soil in our garden. So that's me marked the hole. And now the difficult bit. I've got to do the hard work. I've got to dig the hole. Now years ago, we used to dig really big, really deep holes. We don't now, because we know that tree roots don't go down, they go sideways. And if you go to a woodland and you look at trees, you trip over the tree roots. One of the biggest problems we have in gardens, we plant too deep and we actually make the tree and the shrub suffer. So I'll start digging the hole. You can see how dry it is, so it really is good. Now, when I was a young gardener, we used to dig holes that were 2-3 foot deep. We used to put lots of manure and compost at the bottom of them, and we thought the tree would grow like a rocket. Actually, we were harming the tree, because the problem is, when you put organic material at the bottom of a hole, it rots away over time. And so the tree that you planted at the right level, it starts to sink. But I'll need to get down on my hands and knees now. Now, if you look at the hole, you can see it's quite shallow, and you can see the saucer shape. Now, look at that root ball. Doesn't it look wonderful? But looks can be deceiving. The first thing I need to do is remove all the excess compost. And look at all that compost that's just coming off, because I want to get down to where the tree starts to flare out at the bottom. And if you look down there, you can see close. I've removed about 1 inch of soil, and you can start to see where the roots flare out from the bottom. That's really important. That's the level that you want to plant to, not the level of the compost in the container. But I'm also going to go round the edges of the pot. You've got to tease out the roots, because when the roots have been in the pot, they start to circle round and they start to corkscrew. And if I was just to plant it like that into the ground, the roots would continue to corkscrew. We want to stop that. So with this knife, I'm going to go down and do 4 cuts. And that cuts through any spiralling roots. And then I'm just going to get in, tease out the soil, because I want these roots to go sideways into the surrounding soil. And I can see at the bottom of the pot, look at that, I'm going to put a cut right across the bottom. Now, it looks cruel. It's not been cruel. It's actually been really helpful to the plant. It's actually better to plant a little bit proud than it is to plant too deep. You don't want soil coming up the root. You really don't. So you want to plant it so the soil just comes to there, not up the stem, because if it goes up the stem, it actually softens the stem and it allows other problems like honey fungus to enter the plant. But when I plant, I also use a compound. And I have some here in a wee jar. Now, this is called mycorrhizal fungi, and it's a beneficial fungi that helps trees and shrubs establish. Some people are even using it in show vegetables and things like that. But I've been using it for 20, 30 years on trees, and it forms a secondary fungal root system. That's what mycorrhiza means, a fungal root system, and it helps the tree or the shrub to establish. So I want to keep it dry, and it is rather wet today. And I'm just going to put the top of the jar on. And you've got to dust it on the roots. You want it to come into contact, and the bottom as well. But you can see it's actually touching the roots. And about a teaspoonful like that per plant is perfect. Now, every tree has got a good side and a bad side. And what side am I going to be looking at it? Well, I'm actually going to look at it as I come down into the garden. So I actually think that its good side is that way. And always remember that every tree and shrub in the garden has a good side. And then I'm going to gently start firming it in. So often I've seen people coming in and they tramp round about it. You just gently need to firm in. And I go round it like a clock, just working my way around the tree. And the thing I always have to check about, so important, is that not planted too deep. I don't want any soil coming up round the base of the tree like that. You want to see that root flare being proud. But I haven't finished. There's one last thing I'm going to do. Now, I talked about the magic ingredient, the mycorrhizal fungi. I'm going to just mulch it with some leaf mould I've had in my compost heap. And I love leaf mould. It's the best mulching material out. And it just helps to finish everything off. And it actually helps the tree to establish. And so I'm just going to pile a little bit down, and then using my hands, I'm going to spread it round about. Now, another mistake that people make when mulching is they mulch right up to the base of the tree like that. You actually want the mulch to have a circle free around the tree. So don't bring the mulch up there. And I will guarantee you, by the end of the summer, this leaf mould will have disappeared and the worms and all the beneficial insects will have taken it into the soil. And I'm looking forward to this. 2 or 3 years' time, seeing this flowering and enjoying it as I continue the development of my garden.